Recently, the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee held a hearing on the rise of political violence in this nation. And what we're going to see today is Senator Eric Schmitt pointing out a lot of the reasons for that rise. But before we get to these clips, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
Mobs that torch cities, the radicals who ambush ICE agents, the activists who terrorize judges at their homes, all of them are foot soldiers in the same regime. A regime whose foundational ideology is that we're born either as victims or oppressors, and it is the duty of revolutionaries to impose their vision of equity upon us all. To these people in this movement, the only acceptable goal is the destruction of the system and its leaders. The central idea of every revolutionary project is that utopia must be achieved through any means necessary. If you truly believe that Charlie Kirk is an existential threat to your safety, and you've bought into the nonsense that words are violence, then silencing him by any means could seem necessary. If you believe that mass migration is an inalienable right, then opening the floodgates to uncontrolled immigration, tearing down the border and attacking those who defend it might look like justice to you. If you believe that America was conceived in murder and built on stolen land, then you feel no moral obligation to respect and obey its laws. If you truly believe the police are the armed enforcers of racist oppression who indiscriminately murder innocent victims in the streets, then you might see violence against an officer as an act of brave resistance. When Charlie Kirk was murdered, one of his killer's bullets was engraved with the message, "Hey fascist, catch." But who taught him that Charlie Kirk was a fascist? Who convinced him, I should say, that Charlie's hate made his murder a righteous act? Who told him over and over again that people who believe what Charlie Kirk believed are threats to our democracy? He didn't invent that worldview. He learned it, as did each and every one of the arsonists, assassins, and militants who came before him. Perhaps the people in power who said these things didn't really believe them, but clearly some of the people who listened to them did. And now they are taking those ideas to their final logical conclusion. Enough. We are faced with only two paths. Either we confront this political violence and end it, or it will end us. And I can think of no better person to introduce this topic than the late Charlie Kirk himself. I'm going to show a quick video before we go to the ranking member of him speaking on this precise subject, and I hope everyone would listen closely and heed his warning.
Now on Thursday, more violence from the radical left, this time directed at Turning Point USA and their group on the campus of UC Davis. Here with more, Turning Point USA founder, CEO Charlie Kirk. It's interesting, we were texting, about a week ago, and I kept saying, you know, it takes a lot of courage for you and your group and these young kids to be setting up in these hostile environments on college campuses. And, you know, lo and behold, it's not the first time it's happened, but we'll show the video as you're speaking. Tell us everything that went on.
Yeah, it's shocking stuff, and it's a pattern now. We're seeing this happening on more and more campuses. So at the University of California, Davis, our brave Turning Point USA chapter was set to host Brandon Tatum as a Prove Me Wrong event. Goes up, sets a table. Anyone can go and have free speech and dialogue if they disagree. Antifa showed up, full masked, black outfits. They came in, took our gear, destroyed our tables, basically made the students had to flee, and the police did nothing to intervene, nothing whatsoever. Our courageous students had such resolve and fortitude that after this incident happened, they regathered and tried to do the event still about an hour later, but it wasn't the same, of course. This is after one of our Turning Point USA students at University of Texas, Dallas, had a bike lock thrown at her and actually had to be hospitalized for this treatment. Sean, we are seeing a disturbing pattern from the radical left, and we have data to now support it. According to the National Contagion Research Institute, 48% of left-of-center respondents say that it's justified to murder Elon Musk. 53% say that it would be justified to murder President Donald Trump. There are ballot measures in California that are being measured by far-left activists that are being named, I should say, after Luigi Maggioni. We have to take a step back here and ask our question, what's really going on here? There's a deeper thing system than just political disagreement. If you are on the front lines, like our Turning Point USA students, you are potentially putting your safety, your well-being, and God forbid, your life in jeopardy for simply being a conservative on a college campus.
It really is strange to think that just a little over a month ago, Charlie Kirk was alive and delivering this message, right? Warning about the rise of political violence among the radical left. Okay, but what we have here, of course, is Senator Eric Schmitt pointing out what's the reasoning behind all of this. All right, because if you think that this country is basically evil, then of course you're going to stand up against it. If you think that deporting illegal immigrants is oppression, you are going to stand up against it. If you think that Donald Trump is some type of dictator, then of course you're going to stand up against it. Because if you view yourself as a true revolutionary that wants to change the country, change the entire system, then of course you are going to use any means necessary to stop a truly despicable despot from taking power, taking control, taking over, etc. So if you've been radicalized to believe all of that garbage, to think that this entire country is based on oppression, then of course you are going to fight back in the most violent possible way. And as Eric Schmitt pointed out, it's going to look like justice in your mind. Okay, because we've all seen these videos. We've seen Antifa show up in their black bloc. We've seen them assault people over and over and over again. And yet all of this activity is either dismissed or excused by the Democrats, and not just random Democrats. We're talking about the Democrat leadership. They come out and say that, oh, Antifa doesn't really exist. It's just an idea. It's not really an organization. And yet here they are on video who happen to show up at the same time with the same signage, and they're well prepared and organized, and of course it's all coming to light that they're well funded as well. Okay, so yes, this is an organization of terror in this country, and I'm very glad that Donald Trump finally designated them as such, and I'm very hopeful that we can finally start to tear down this radical organization and all of its funding mechanisms, and of course go after the people at the top. But at the same time, you have the Democrats coming out and saying, guess what? It's not the left, it's the right. They're the real danger, despite the mountains of video evidence, despite the history over the last several years of these violent clashes with simple conservative commentators, with reporters. All right. It's all about shutting down free speech and getting people too afraid to come out and spread their ideas, or at least have an open discussion and debate. What does that sound like to you? Yeah, definitely not the brown shirts and the black shirts. But of course, the Democrats are going to remain in complete denial about this entire situation. And I'm very glad you have people like Senator Eric Schmitt out there spreading the truth about what's really happening in this country. And of course, he's using Charlie Kirk's own words in a very powerful way to do so. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and stay safe out there, people, because they're coming after you. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description, where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.